Yeah. Rajidele, the Tajakala Yoba, Tang, de Pepa, to do some Trashi election in the little Tomer, the Gonzal Sanchok Senji, Chevi, Nimbole, some of the Tondam Sanchok Sem, Chawami, but the Sanjay Obama, some season, Chawami, but the Kiba, the day, Tondam Sanchok Sevi, the day Chupamba, Chudo Nambala, Trashi election.
Dashitele to all my Dharma friends on the live stream and all of you assembled here. Good morning, everyone. And so, first, from the relative bodhicitta, which in essence is the four immeasurables, arises this nectar of the ultimate bodhicitta of immortality, or the nectar of immortality. And that is the nectar contained here in the Buddha Amitabha's begging bowl. And so it's this nectar of ultimate bodhicitta that I'm offering to you, my Dharma friends. So Dashitelek.
Page number 1, yellow book. Tarba dan dan jen jen be bar de jo bar je bar dan je je zo je be ma nang ga da nyam be zen je dan je de wa dan de dong e dan ja nyer da la na me ba ya da
All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of beings and practice the stages of the bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until attaining the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and the assembly of the bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the bodhisattva's path. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Buddha Amitabha text, page number 1.
In the space in front appears the Guru in the form of Amitabha, surrounded by an inconceivable retinue of bodhisattvas. Namo, to the 3 jewels and the 3 roots, the places of protections, I go for refuge in order to establish all beings in Buddhahood. I give rise to the mind set on supreme awakening.
de bar me ge jo da za me ma sen nya mo wan je be de ba dan je ja ba je nian de ran ja jian jiu sen so se jie wo la so be de san ge wo jie sa ba so na la ne da ye ran sen jie nan jie san ba da lo ye se da jie da ba ye zhong de mo de ba ye xie jian guo lu guo da ye dong me jiang zuo xian hua ye sen jie na la se su su da ge su na jie sa ba dan ye jiang jiu jie jie ne ren bo me dun zhe hua ye dian be bar de da jie jie.
Back to page 2. With sincere faith, I pay homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times. I offer flowers, incense, lamps, fragrance, food, music, and the like, actually arranged and mentally created. Supreme Gathering, please accept them. I confess all evil deeds, the 10 non-virtues, and the 5 acts without interval that I have committed, overpowered by mental affliction since beginningless time until now. I rejoice in the merit, all the virtue accumulated in the 3 times by the Shravakas, Prachika Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, ordinary beings, and the like. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the greater and lesser vehicles and the teachings common to both, according to the aspirations and diverse mental capacities of sentient beings. Until samsara is emptied, do not pass into nirvana, but compassionately look upon sentient beings drowning in the ocean of suffering. May all the merit I have accumulated become the cause of awakening, and may I soon become a glorious guide of beings. The field of accumulation dissolves into me. Thus the mind of the 4 immeasurables has arisen within the mind streams of myself and all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness. May they be free from all suffering. May they never be separate from happiness. May they abide in the great equanimity.
sarbe marag lumbotar Sharje Chanye Nyan Yo Lun Zin Zin Jue Ge Nan Sun Soi Shen Jie Zhong Yo Do Jie Jian Jie Ruo La Da De Si San Jie Gen Jie Da Ni Jian Bo San De Ye Ye Se Man Jo Jin Ri Si Sharje Chanye Yuan Be Be Gan Zi Gar Bo Ren Jian Jie Yen Da Yu Zhou Yuan De Jian Si De Jian Da Yarje Chanye Yuan Be Dor Jian Zi Mon Bo Ren Jie Jian Jie Yen Da Yuan Gar De Jian Si Jian De Zo Jie Gar Zo Yuan Ne San Zhe Sa Zan Ba Le Bo Zhe Gar Mar Den Son Jo Jie Da Jie Bar De Wai Jian Jie Shen De Zhe Na Da Gor Bo Dan Yu Gar De Ge Jie Nie La Ne De Jie Zhan Zhu.
Back to page 5. Appearance and existence, all phenomena of samsara and nirvana, are empty by nature. Not realizing this, how afflicted are deluded beings in samsara. My own awareness appears as a white Hri, the manifestation of unified emptiness, clarity, and compassion. The Hri transforms into myself, appearing as Chenrezig, seated upon a cushion of lotus and moon. I have one face and 4 arms. 2 are joined at the heart, and the other 2 hold a lotus and a garland. Peaceful and with a loving cast in the garments of the Sambhogakaya Buddha, sitting in a cross-legged posture, my lower body is enfolded in a lotus. In the space in front, upon the seat of a lotus and a moon, appears a red Hri, gleaming with light. The light radiates, pleasing the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, and gathering their knowledge, love, and power. The light then dissolves back into the Hri. Again, light rays radiate to the 6 realms, purifying the karmic visions, self-grasping, and habitual imprints of sentient beings. The light gathers back, and the Hri transforms into the supreme protector of beings, Buddha Amitabha. He is bright red like a mountain of rubies, with 1 face and 2 arms in equipoise mudra, holding a begging bowl. He is garbed in the 3 Dharma robes and sits in a cross-legged posture. Ceaselessly looking upon beings with eyes of compassion, he appears as a great embodiment of all Buddhas. On his right is the noble supreme Chenrezig, with 1 face, 2 arms, holding a white lotus with his left hand. White and adorned with jewels, he stands upright. To the left is the Lord of the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, with 1 face and 2 arms, holding a vajra in his left hand. Blue and adorned with jewels, he stands upright. They are surrounded by an assembly of bodhisattvas. The 3 places of the principal Lord are marked with the 3 syllables. From the syllables, white, red, and blue light radiate to the 10 directions, and in particular to the land, pure land of Sukhavati. Invoking the heart pledge of Amitabha and his retinue, who then instantly appears at this place.
lo ne so je go lo dan Dzambhala na ro de to da wan ge ne je ne ja na zo be ma da ve den den do dan ze jang de da nie me yo.
Home. In the great bliss sphere of my body, my own primordially pure awareness abides Amitabha and retinue as the naturally present innate radiance. From the beginning, the samsara being and wisdom being are one, yet your formless manifests form from the expanse of great love and compassion in accordance with mental inclinations of beings. Following your heart pledge, please come here to this place and be seated indivisibly from the mandala of the Samaya being.
Samaya Deja. roja judan den be jarzen da jaranji jarbe jalan bon rogo den ze jian zo wa jo bö dan zhe zhe nian jie ro me zo do jie ran jie jar be nian lan bon ro ge jian sen dan dan ba zhuo wang bo zhen zhen de be yuan de a mo la ran jie jar wa na lan bo ro gu za me de wen ngo ba zhuo zha xie zi jia zi de ye xie ran xie jia wa nam lan bo ro gu zan jie yun de do ba zhuo.
The bottom of page 10. Free. I offer this water endowed with the 8 attributes, with the nature of generosity to the mouths of the victorious ones. May there be perfect fortune for all beings. I offer this foot-cleansing water, clear, cool, pristine, and exquisite, and with the nature of morality to the feet of the victorious ones. May all beings be relieved of the torment of existence. I offer various beautiful celestial flowers that have the nature of patience to the eyes of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the 7 attributes of the higher realms. I offer naturally sweet-smelling incense and blended incense that has the nature of diligence to the noses of the victorious ones. May all beings become free from the bonds of existence. I offer this precious, radiant, and lustrous lamp that has the nature of meditation to the hearts of the victorious ones. May all beings clear away the dense darkness of their deluded minds. I offer fragrant medicinal elixir, saffron and the like, which have the nature of transcendent knowledge, to the bodies of the victorious ones. May all beings realize the inner nature of phenomena. I offer food endowed with the essence of 100 tastes, with the nature of method to the tongues of the victorious ones. May all beings be sustained by the food of samadhi. I offer harmonious musical sounds such as those of conch shell, drum, and bell, which have the nature of power to the ears of the victorious ones. May all beings be endowed with the awakening mind. I offer the 5 desirables that appease the senses and that have the nature of prayer to the victorious ones. May all beings be satisfied by untainted bliss. I offer the 8 auspicious substances and the 8 auspicious symbols and the 7 royal attributes, which have the nature of wisdom to the victorious ones. May all beings attain the attributes of Buddhahood. All owned and unowned things of the entire infinite billion-fold universe, my own body, enjoyments, and all possessions, I offer without holding anything back to the pure land of Sukhavati. May the self-grasping of beings be thereby fully pacified. May they be endowed with the awakening mind, and may their birth in the pure land be unobstructed. Realizing that my own mind is the Buddha, I pay homage on the ultimate level, abiding within ungraspable, empty awareness. Everything comprised within, appearance and existence, is offered. Deluded perceptions of dualistic grasping are confessed within the expanse of Dharmata. I rejoice within the state of the spontaneous completion of the three kayas. The Dharma wheel of unceasing compassion will always turn. Abide within the natural Dharmakaya that pervades all samsara and nirvana. In infinite pervasiveness, where there is no reference point of the three spheres, dedication will always take place. Free, ever turning the wheel of Dharma in the pure land of Sukhavati, you unceasingly look upon sentient beings with compassion. Homage and praise to Amitabha, who, abiding in equipoise, follows his pledge to act for the purpose of beings. To Chenrezig, Vajrapani, the other bodhisattvas, the noble assembly of arhats, and the gathering of deities abiding in Sukhavati, I humbly pay homage and offer praise with body, speech, and mind.
nan de do ge ren da ngan zhen len wo za ma ge ngan zhen xian ne do rang ge jia jiu jian lang er zhe do de da jue me jie do guo ra ye ma le wo za ga do na zun zhe jiu jue san jie xiang sen ye ba shi gang zhen zhen jie gen jie zhe zhen jiang no jie nan da de jian xian de jiao.
Bottom 17. At the heart of myself, appearing as Chenrezig, on a moon disk is a Hri surrounded by the 6-syllable mantra circling clockwise. From it, radiate lights and a white mantra garland issues forth, emerges from my heart, and dissolves into the heart of the deity visualized in front. Thus, Amitabha's compassionate heart pledge of body, speech, and mind is invoked. From the mantra garland around the Hri at the heart of Amitabha, a red mantra garland of light emerges from his mouth, enters my mouth, and I obtain blessings and attainment. In this way, the mantra circles continuously between myself and Amitabha. The multicolored light issuing from the circling mantra garland pleases the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, purifies the 3 types of obscurations of all beings in the 6 realms, and the universe and the beings transform into the pure land of Sukhavati.
Oh
Please continue to recite the Amitabha mantra quietly to yourself, uninterruptedly. And I'm going to say a few words again. If you know how to listen, then please listen. So this is just an introduction, and probably most of the introductions I've given are quite the same. But in all of these introductions, you might still find something new, a few new examples or new things to understand and so on. And so try to take in as much as you can. And whatever you can understand, keep it in mind. And if you don't understand something, then just cultivate bodhicitta. And so what we're going to speak about today is the next cause of birth in Devachan, and that is the support, that is bodhicitta. And we always make this prayer, that begins with "May precious bodhicitta" and so on. And we make many other prayers about bodhicitta. But we need to understand what actually is bodhicitta, and what's the benefit of having it, and what's the problem of not having it. That's something we should really think about. So it should really be in your mind. You should really think that and come to the conclusion that it is indispensable. I cannot be without it. And Pato Rinpoche had said that if you have it, so speaking of bodhicitta, if you have bodhicitta, that itself is sufficient for attaining enlightenment. If you lack bodhicitta, you have no way of attaining enlightenment. Bodhicitta is the seed, the unmistaken seed of enlightenment. And therefore, you should cultivate true, authentic bodhicitta. And so now we are speaking about enlightenment, but not even speaking about enlightenment now. If you simply just want to be free from suffering, you need to have love. If you have no love, there is no way you can free yourself from suffering, and nowhere in the three planes of samsaric existence. you have bodhicitta, you will liberate yourself from suffering and achieve the state of great bliss, great happiness that is beyond all suffering. And there are many people or Buddha emanations in this world that we can actually see with our own eyes, those who have actually cultivated bodhicitta. And so a person who knows how to practice Dharma, they will be able to accept whatever suffering they encounter or illness they experience. So they will not become overwhelmed and sad about their suffering. But if somebody who doesn't know how to practice, they will try to avoid suffering, often even by committing suicide. So what's the difference between these individuals? The difference is that it lies in bodhicitta, having or not having bodhicitta, and it lies in understanding or not understanding karma. So we need to cultivate bodhicitta. For example, what happens if we don't have bodhicitta is that, like for example, we consider our precious human bodies the most important thing that we have. And we spend all of our money on medical treatments to heal our body. And then there's people who even kill their own body. They commit suicide, and on top of that, they even kill other people. So the difference is that one person has bodhicitta and one doesn't have bodhicitta. It's important that you're able to discern between the benefits, the need for having bodhicitta, and then the faults that come from not having it. If you have bodhicitta, you will be able to accept any difficulty, any suffering, and you will be able to awaken from ignorance. And therefore, it's very important to bring this to mind again and again.
치 아마 치 보고도 천왕이 하나는 커도래 데이터에 비 제렇게 상대의 자치 보이면 하고는 이제 답고 요도 특별히 다 뜨는 거요래 제가 소소랑 아주 찾아서 상대도 가면 또 삼로 딱딱 땅 대매는 요야요 말 세걸 동설지로 상대 요야요 말 다른 곰 삼로 땅을 세고 싸고 요래 대사고 탑게 다 석실 이 사제마도 사실 제일 제단 개네요 상대 사토고요 말이 상대 사뭐 탑게 가래 레이저베 마시리다 제단 개는 다 등상 다 치는 탑도 탑게 다 준비 하고 그래 미시나 세대 시험은 녹색 바도를 놓으려 하고 그것도 빵을 뜬거로 하지 그 강리 상기 시랍도 바라도서 맞아요 시합을 바라도 체리대 시합을 뛰는 느낌이 내버려 초점이 되는 거고요. 시합을 뛰는 나디 나들한테 나디 좀 거요. 따라하는 게 나라서 다 좋거든. 그래 중요한 거예요. 중요 뛰는 거 비슷하다 했잖아. 상적으로 용 뛰는데 이걸 가래 폐기도 매일 가는 거 선망다는 빼망 저거 다 삼지되면 다 그래 배금도 없지. 이 상황도 들철 거는 사보타들 레즈베를 막기는 사지가를 막기는 그 산쪽세 막기와 제와 탑 제와 뭐냐면 탑 오늘 공부배 탑대도 또 사지라 그래서 기록 탐지를 있는 연구를 많이 이 책에 탑이요 말이 대회를 탑지로는 매 대회들이 탑이 강에 다 비디 종을 조고 사지에서 다들 알리 속이면 뭐 책도 안 보라 근데도 송도 도서리 피디 가리리 내가 피방에 비사서 내가 피기 요래지 내가 나다 컴파니 오사요 피기 요래지 내가 저 나타난 동에 로버가 레게다 마음이 벌레구나 나야 피기 말이 가봐요 그걸 싫어 그래 라로 그래 근데 너게 가야 용용 그래 대가려고 다 레이즈를 있으면 마마 집에 다들 위로 두있어 서마 같이 다들 내렸지 마마 집에 다들 내려가서는 너게 다리 제거리지 상대 나고 잘을 너게 다리 제거리 너게 다리를 가요 이야 마마 지랑 상대 매리 처럼 내가 강지 봤지 다 그이 걸어 잡아서 대출 설사하는 걸 그랬지 대사는 들은 도와를 하는 걸 그래 내가 가리를 내좀 내시 봤지 홀로 타라고 그래 다 사지게 내좀 내지 그것도 대봤더니 다시는 줘야 뭐 주공 제세지 또 유모가 레니 뭘 쏘는더니 들이 따뜻하다 다다고 니 사제에서가 대동섭제 대르시는 송 공감에 ded성 거래 주목 공감에 까대능섭제요 감성 천지 담전이 멍도 정말면 딜지 막는 말 person did really border 송 거네 이 주공 제세지도 레니 제세지도 참선 출망으로 제대 뭐지 레니 border 송 철들 참어 라고 유명서 라주고 유명들 참선들이 라그시 담타고 마털서로 또이 배워는 줄어서 소라는 줄이 담고 라주 때문에 드리지 주다고 그러지 자공 라그시는 드리지 주다고 그러지 자공 셔터고 그래 대다고 살롱다네 이들 도상 적생지디 주봉 예를 싸와 따로 차대 요래 탐색에 되지 뭐라면 작게 그냥 그거지 제조들이 속치고 그래 상적생으로 라소리스탄 사지게 까바창을 라소리스탄을 하지 가리도는 땅 삼재에서 그래 사지 리드 가마도 봤다 그래 세부 삼재에 계시고래 말라리면 가리랍도 민총자와 시당이 소로 바뀌어서 바꿔서가 말라리면 서적은 이제 그 말이 감동 스바스를 말라리면 이제 고사요 말이 폭시당을 이제 그거지 민총자와 시당 소로 바뀌어서 바꿔 공세의 시당 명지 이제다 소들 뒤에 답이 고를 마고 저도 소를 들이다 가난 고조고 용 진정 다지 잠지 산족선 마디와 제가 제하면 아마 다 수지도 다 사제에 그래서 사지 가린 제보리 들 사지 제마사들 먼저 먹혀요 것도 봐 대다고 잘 다 주좀 되는 지지를 다 당고 사지를 대받지 가리들 대받지 사지를 내좀 되디도 내좀 되지 지금아 기와를 기와 체험을 체험들이 동에 탐지에 쪽으로 대원 서좀 타타고 산지 처음에 제고 막 돈을 돈담고 되어서는 다 지금 놀이 있다고 걸었다 봤더니 남 산지 뛰죠. 남가 되는 좋다 문으로라는 알아야 그래서 뭐더라 다다 지망시 가셔야 하고 로다 자는 로다 다른 참는 독면에 이제 가다 가는 로 두다로 이제 되게 요리 야우테 주바 코는 되게 아무 삼때 돌아로 그래 그 지엄만 한번 탑좀 돼서 저러지네 그리 다다 산지 가는 메티니 잡을 때 사태다 매일 대화하는데 삼때가 가르리 다다 대화지 아마 삼때가 가르리 마음과는 좀 대화만 다 삼때 다 보자고 더들 제와를 제와 처럼 담겨야 되네 내가 페이바다 다톡 대화서 내가 만 잡으려면 여러 가지 보도 로로주도 보통만도 가래는 너도 술이 아마 이제 맞추선 조바선 되는 송대요 다음에 문수를 같이도 공도 되는데 다 삼점만 줄라 우리 다톡 살리고 뭐 더운 거래 대다고 내가 페이바다 다톡 대화서 내가 토리스 거 거봐 문 줄이 용을 다톡 살리고 막 더다 삼절이 대외다 말하리베 다 소로 받는 조바고 저 책책 말하리베 책도 다 보다는 드리고서 탐제게 그렇게 보여래.
And so we have to really apply all of this to our own mind and really see how is this all manifesting in my own mind stream. So for example, when you see yourself in a family, there's parents, children in a family, even in an ordinary life. So how is it when this family is very loving, they love each other? And how is it if the family does not get along, if there's constant conflict in that family? So really think about how you observe that in your own life. And so, for example, how is it when there is great love in a family? Then the family experiences great happiness. For example, how is it when a mother looks after her child, with how much love she cares for her child? The mother only thinks about her child and not about herself. She would even give up her own life, her own body, in order to care for the child. And so that is why the Buddha always gives the example of you should love all sentient beings in the 6 realms just like a mother loves her child. And so even in an ordinary samsaric life, we can find this great love. And so then the happiness, however, that we find in samsaric life is fleeting. It is not lasting, and there is a grasping to a self. And so this is then often what causes what is medicinal to become poisoned. And then this kind of love may have both benefits and also faults. So the Buddha's love is a love that is immeasurable for all sentient beings. And who possesses this kind of love? It's all the Buddhas of the 3 times, and there are as many as there are sand grains on the river Ganges. So all of these Buddhas first gave rise to bodhicitta, and then they cultivated merit for 3 aeons. What that means is that basically they have cultivated love in all this time. What we do is we go to work and we accumulate money. The Buddhas accumulated love. Actually, the Buddhas have said that do not just focus on accumulating money, but accumulate love. And not just the Buddha, actually, quote by Jesus, who also mentioned that. So actually all the religions are very beneficial for that reason, because they all consider love or loving kindness as most important. So it's not just Buddhism. Also in Jesus in Christianity, for example, had said that you should invest your wealth in the treasure house of the heavens and not the earthly treasure houses. And then the Buddha had said that whatever you whatever you have in your home, whatever you so-called own is not really yours, but whatever you give to others, that is yours. And so they're all speaking about the same thing. They're speaking about practicing generosity, for example. So this is how we should see the good qualities of all the religions. So therefore, what really is a religion? It all comes down to really one thing, and that is love. That is what they all really emphasize, all the religions. And they speak about the importance of cultivating love and the problems that come from not cultivating love. We can see in this world, even though we have found the precious human body, there is so much suffering in the world. There is wars, conflicts, a lot of suffering in the world. And all of this suffering, in whichever way it manifests, comes from a lack of love. It comes from just wishing for one's own happiness at the cost of others. And that is why people go to war and why they fight with each other on a personal level, often even killing other people. And all of that is because of self-grasping. It is basically because we think everything has to go my way, and if it doesn't go my way, it's not okay. And then often people even go against their own family, and it happens that they may kill their children or their spouses. So all of that is a fault of lacking love. Now we think about the quality of love. For example, in the animal realm, even though they are animals, birds, for example, hundreds and thousands of them live together, and they harmoniously coexist. They are very beautiful, they have beautiful voices, and everyone finds them, everyone likes birds, finds them very beautiful. And that is because they have love for one another. And that's actually also something that science has recognized. Science is also an aspect of wisdom. They recognize these qualities, and therefore they often show that on television. We can see, for example, images of a dog, like a female dog, carrying like a puppy across a river, and so on. And so science sees the preciousness of love, and that is why we see these images. So we should really again apply that to our own mind. Really look at your own mind and ask yourself, how much love do I really have? And love is something that you have to cultivate. It's not something you can go out and buy, no matter how much money you have. It's something that you have to cultivate by habituating to it, something you accumulate in your mind. And the way to do that was taught by the Buddha. And it's really only the Buddha who ultimately knew that. Scientists, no matter how skilled they are, they cannot teach you how to cultivate true love. And why? It is because they do not clearly understand karma. Of course, ultimately, there are some scientists actually who also speak about karma these days. And they also say that, for example, when you die, the mind doesn't die, and there is an afterlife, the bardo, and there's many documentaries that illustrate that from a scientific perspective. The ultimate wisdom now, the perfection of wisdom, is the wisdom of the Buddha. And science is an aspect of wisdom. And with that wisdom, they develop medical treatments and so forth, whatever brings benefit and happiness to others. That all comes from wisdom. But there still is self-grasping involved. And that is why there's always some faults that go along with it. So then you have both faults and qualities. So really think about the qualities of having bodhicitta, the benefit of having bodhicitta, and the faults that come from not having bodhicitta. There are many examples that you can think about, but you should come to the conclusion where you're certain that I really have to cultivate love. And the way to do that is taught by the Buddha. The Buddha taught us how to cultivate love and how it is related to understanding karma. And that is why we listen to the Buddha's teachings. the Buddha gave a method to give rise to bodhicitta where it has not yet arisen, to not let it decline where it has arisen, and to further increase bodhicitta. And it is from this principle, really, that all the religions, including Buddhism, arise. So it's really the Dharma, the religion, that has the method to cultivate love, and no one else really has it. For example, in a prayer we say, the perfect Buddha is the source of all benefit and happiness. And that's also mentioned in the beginning of the 37 practices. So what's this benefit and happiness? First, there is a temporary benefit. So what we often consider to be a benefit is when we are able to accumulate money so we can buy a house, for example. So then, however, even if you have a lot of money and you have a nice house, karma suddenly ripens and you get sick, for example. And when you're sick, then all of this money in the house is of no use to you. You will die and leave your money and your house behind and experience a lot of suffering. And so here we come back to karma again. It is said that if you wish to know what you did in a past life, look at your present body. If you wish to know where you will go next, look at your present actions. So if you understand that your current existence, your experience is due to your own past karma, you will be able to accept the difficulties you encounter in this life. And you will, through these difficulties, learn to cultivate love, to see the importance of love. Because of these difficulties and because you understand karma, you understand that why am I suffering? It is because in a previous life I have not cultivated love, and therefore I have engaged in various selfish actions. Now, as a result of that, I suffer. All the suffering I experience is kind of my own projection. So I'm watching my own karma like watching a TV show. The 6 realms of samsara are kind of reflected back to us, projected to us as our own karma manifesting as our experience. And then this is how it goes on continuously, like a turning wheel. So this is what the Buddha calls the relative truth. And we can speak really endlessly about that. We have said that there is 84,000 Dharma teachings, and they each are an antidote to one of the 84,000 afflictive emotions. The Buddha taught the Buddha's teachings. The body of teachings consists of the Tripitaka, which are the 3 scripture collections, and the Khenpos teach about that. But those 3 scripture collections, basically, all they really are is an antidote to the 3 poisons. So each scripture collection is an antidote to one of the 3 poisons. Even though there are so many afflictive emotions, they all in essence belong to one of the 3 poisons, the 3 main afflictive emotions. And there is not a single affliction that does not arise from those. And therefore, the afflictive emotions of all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara are essentially the same. And then they just combine with each other and multiply. So that is why it is because we have so many afflictive emotions that we have so many antidotes. And then moreover, each of the 84,000 Dharma teachings can be combined with each other. So you have like 84,000 times 84,000. So that is why there is so many Dharma teachings, because there is so many afflictive emotions. Well, then if we were to summarize them all into their essence, they come down to those 3 poisons. In the 37 practices, it says, if you do not tame the enemy of your own hatred, outer enemies will only increase. First, we have to tame and purify our own mind, and only then can we help others purify their mind. For as long as we are an ice block, and one ice block cannot melt another ice block. So first we have to melt our own ice block before we can look at others. So that is something that many of you always really think about. You practice that, but you really have to. You have to not just think about that, but you have to really think about that very strongly. You have to truly think about that and apply that to your own mind. And this is what the Buddhas have done, practicing for many aeons, even giving up the importance of their own bodies. And so what they have really cultivated in all this time is really only love. They have recognized that this body is just like an empty house, and love is much more important. And therefore, Milarepa also said that the root of the lower realms is hatred. Therefore, practice patience, even at the cost of your life. Milarepa was not afraid of anything. He was not afraid of any suffering in the 3 realms of samsaric existence. There's one thing he was afraid of, it would be hatred or anger. That is why he said, practice patience even at the cost of your life. So for him, even if someone threatened to kill him, he would not get angry. And so this is how we should aspire to practice. And it begins by understanding the importance, the quality of love. And then we have to know how to cultivate it and how to sustain the love that we have cultivated. And the only way for us to know that is through the Buddha. And that is why we should also remember the kindness of the Buddha. If you really see the kindness of the Buddha, then tears may even come to your eyes. And when that happens, that's actually a sign that you are trusting in karma. So first you should cultivate faith in the Buddha. And why? Because the Buddha taught us karma. And if we understand that, we have a way to become liberated from suffering in our future lifetimes. We have a way to attain happiness. In one prayer it says, may I attain the city of long life, the state of a deathless Vidyadhara, the city of long life. And may I attain the invincible form of a Vajra form. So this is the way to go. Whether you go this way or not, you walk this path or not, that depends on you. And so in any case, this is something that all of you have heard before. Many of you have practiced for many years. Some of you have done retreats. Many of you practice, meditate at home. And so you've gone all over to hear many teachings. So you know about that, and you see the importance of cultivating love. But then still it happens that you lose your patience. And then that when you lose your patience with others, you lose your love. So that is the point of saying, may bodhichitta that has arisen not decline. So there's that second method. And so we allow it, or we make it not decline if we recognize that this love that I now have, that is my only cause of happiness. If I experience any happiness now in this life, it's because I have cultivated love in a past life. If I want to experience happiness in the future, then I have to hold on to this love now. Love is your only cause of happiness in this life and future lives. So we call it the temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. Temporary benefit is that it applies to this life. For example, a person may be very happy in their life. They may have everything they need, they have enough money, they have friends, and so on. And that is because in the past life, they have practiced generosity, ethical discipline, and patience. So recognize that and then think that, and I have to accumulate more of that. I have to practice more of that so I ensure my future happiness. And then if you keep cultivating this, ultimately you will attain enlightenment. So it's the temporary benefit and the ultimate happiness. If you cultivate love, you will temporarily always experience the happiness of the 3 higher realms, and you will ultimately attain enlightenment. So that is why we should, again, always remember Milarepa's words, even at the cost of your life, and practice patience. These words are truly very important.
Rawang de Bogus, music the Sojila, Wasa to the Jelly, they don't get home the old days of Rawang Bogus, they came without touching the Banta, the Shekiri. They pointed out the border, such a Kazakara to Makati Yori. My Jamin song, oh, Boboke Dachi, Koto, the Kobati, Shamakoti. Karedi, what I did most at the time was the Jackalin, said they something she put your age. They tasted about Tatayane, the Koto Tama, the mental Lapatala Yakari. Jacob catches on market. Around the tailor, Jacob Sivan among the men touch it. Among the Jacobs and among the Taming woman or the Chandler, then also the get at this adula. Jacob the Jalatiri, Jacob the Jalatiri, or Jacob the Yalam Jaco, Jalary. Oh, never so good. Go to Jalary to me, go to Jawas bit of carrots. Oh, could you look to the bed of your tatty, go to Jalary made. Can't say only. This year, don't think I This year, don't think Yawa call, send the share your money. They don't let us in Samata, cautious only say your money. Send the share your money. Send the Tama, the Shedan, call, Makati, don't see, talk the call on the young glory. Ah. Poor leg over, yes, I don't know. They don't let us in. Rani landing it at our rate. Jacob Cathedral, yeah, American Cosare. That was the Losaka, Yellow. Laqua Town, Yellow, the Libby, Michato with there. Master Jawot, Master Ram, you, the Michato. That's some jetty. Something you did taste of it. She is so like I said, so of the Tolstoy. Mirror something like I say, get a dream around for a second young send the particular tapa over it. They don't double a charge of Sami, Tata Young teacher, but Sami Samatona. Oh, double circus something talk with Mr. Shetan talk with the tailor. Oh, that is means circus young to cause the later talk with it. They are the good of the captain. Mate day the doctor to talk about it. You are tell the data only. That's something you must say that I. That's something you don't make it agitated. Something you don't delete. They don't maintain the data. Oh, that I got my something. They got Tori the out of the Tato Sanjay. Sanjay was it. Don't dump some toxin dinner. That I Sanjay by me so I don't tell me would have talked your age. To me, say the theory. To me, there is same distinction of what is said. This won't oh, no one say I am married. Same may send on Namka chamber, sugar day. Saji don't know with them of Namka, Namka Jesse Yoma. They do with their days of tell now that the name of the Chibos don't know with them. They don't talk about it. Dandy the Shelley, Dandy the Tama, Tani, Daji on Idi or Daji Idi Dasuna. There is some one of our child. There's the don't know with them as Haji about to talk about something being Tapchari, the there's something, some Shibakari somewhere. Now, somebody passed some over it. Chuck their teacher, chocolate, GP, Locate, you labor, Dandy the pie shot over this all, oh, Dandy the ball, the sheets of Dandy story, I don't so many. The sheets of the double with Java tea, such a meet of the Tauchi, and warm, Kanga Meva, that Japanese chilling or shake your. Such a tale of what the dream of what it zero. They don't same say your lady on a distant tongue. Lady of the Shilla. Some Yaku, 이 레저들이 이 수급량도 다 사제가 납성. 제가 다 점제데 다 저대가 다 놓고 사제지 비세면 좀 다시 필로 때다 이제 미지 정도도 저 로지잖아. 다음에 때때 따라서 좀 하고 그 감이 통고 다 사제 고쳐서면 되게 통고래. 다마지 받지 지원면 걸로 탑 잠리 탐체대 좋아 총총이 쏘나 담 사제 주도 잡로 찾기구나 놀아 앞에서 사제를 봐서 사제고 막 토고 가지 심지 탐 그 사제 가지고 도고 싸면 좋지 나이지 좀 제주도 나이지만 내리다가 나지 말이 சொல்려래 나이지만 돼 좀나 가도 나 요말 다 매파다 또 다 매파다 좀 사제가 써버렸어 소나 다 나오나 지금 저거래 나의 대주가 지들 내 박자 도마 참아들이 소들을 빠자고 빠더니 빠져서지 따들고 오요래 얘들 달래좀 내들 소를 빨래들 내 양자를 코로 거래 내 코로 코와 되니 내 코를 하고 소 짱마도 또 담고 대봐 소베스 또 나기지 메타나 요지 코와 되니 내주데 너네 돈이 있어서 배다고 하고 내 돈담을 내만 돈을 떼다고 처음에 배채를 내지 말 토야 요리 사제 삼지 이스라엘 요거래 죽은 낭파다고 야와 탐지 싫어도 진짜 사제시 봐서 사고 낭파다 잡을 요래 내를 놓은 거다 저거 인종을 이 강에서 따서 인민론은 정상 이 거리 상모 따로 되고 나대기 등이 내 집을 맡아지 다음 공기 성선을 담지 시간 가져서라 호소 너게 연구를 돼 연구를 됐다고 했을 때 준비를 지지해야지 얘네들이 내가 프레임받아 다통돼 와서 상처서야지 내가 미차만 그다 독자리 티실이다 독과자 티실을 먹이면 해야 다 신랑이 박자들이 타마를 시당 차도 같이 되는데 남인이 매일 가다들 용걸 코로 나요래 다시 정말 코 다시로 다시 치에타를 다 코도 얘기가 사르가 되는 제가 요래 내가 코도 들으러 오면 코도 누구 권한 연구 하고 그럴 말이 다시 메탈을 마마고서 마사미세 쪽닥도 나 갑자기 내지 보죠 가라지고 사 말했지 주세에서 이제 도대체 담지 치랑이 집안에 적은 거로 찾은 거에 하고 말이 대다로 써놓던 뉴베텔리도 써놓던들이 야보요 그래 대들이 이들이 담보사 쪽서지 좋아서 쪽서 피용다 대화도 대화 이제 삼제리 동나도 동에게 이제 단지리 대기가 다 제네 이 산쪽서 이제 또 그래
In this world, for example, in the ordinary world, there are a lot of really exceptional individuals who also become quite famous. There were, for example, leaders of countries, presidents, people who did many great things, and sometimes these people are offered the Nobel Peace Prize, like a medal for advocating for peace. And so what are they advocating for? First of all, there's love in their minds, and because they care about others with love, they want that others experience freedom. And so that is why they engage in various activities to advocate for freedom, and they fight against oppression and so forth. And many people have received this Nobel Peace Prize or other medals, male and female alike, all over the world, in any country. For example, one time I was in Germany, and there was this image, this picture was hanging on the wall of a woman that was quite famous, and I asked, why is this picture of this woman here? and they said that she was nominated for like a peace, Nobel Peace Prize, because she is a great advocate for peace, world peace. And I really like that, so I wrapped the katak around this picture. And so that's just an example. There is many people like that in the world who do great things. And when we hear their names, often we join our palms, our hands in prayer. And then, so there's those, and then there's others who cause a lot of harm to their people. And so in either way, often there's leaders of countries that either cause harm or that cause benefit. And my general viewpoint about a country is that we do need a country, because now if we don't have a country, the people don't have a country, then it's really hard for people to actually live, to survive. They have no protection at all if there is no country. So that is why I always make prayers to pray for the well-being and the happiness of countries. And so then I often also encourage people to sing the anthem of their countries. And sometimes there are people who refuse to sing the anthem of their country. They say, I can't do that, my country is not so good, we have very bad traditions, there's so much suffering in my country, I hate my country. Then they don't want to sing the anthem of their country. So we should separate the country now from that person who is leading the country. So there may be a person who was leading the country with a lot of hatred, and that person may have ordered many other people to go ahead and kill other people. So when that person, that leader of a country dies, for example, their mind does not die. And whatever a negative karma was accumulated, not just by him, but also everyone he ordered, he gave a command to engage in these actions, all of this karma will ripen upon him. So he will experience a lot of suffering as a result of his own actions and the actions he has made other people do. And so then there is countries like America, for example, and sometimes, for example, during the New Year, we are singing the American anthem together, and often people, they touch their heart with their hand when they sing the anthem, and they even start crying because they think about my country, and my country is free and my country is great, so they feel great love for their country and the things that have happened in their country. Whatever the good thing also has happened in the country, all that virtue that was created by those creating those good things in the country, when they die, that all the virtue that they have created and made others create will also ripen upon themselves. So the mind is sort of like a rope that also where we also connect to the minds of others. And so we make other people do things, and then also that kind of comes back to us. And then so some people, and what comes back to them is their own love, and for some it's their own hatred. And if it's their own hatred, even though they have died and they no longer have their body, and karma still comes back to them. So this is all on the relative level, on the level of relative truth. So this is what we need to recognize. And it's not just for the temporary benefit in this life, but it also goes beyond this life, from lifetime to lifetime. So temporarily, if we have love, we will be born in the higher realms, and ultimately we attain enlightenment. When we attain enlightenment, we realize the ultimate bodhichitta. We attain the city of immortality. And if we supplicate single-pointedly, and we cultivate bodhicitta, we will attain this city of immortality ultimately. Because our Buddha nature, our mind cannot die. So recognize that and see that my mind, no matter what happens, my mind cannot die. and when you realize that mind is like space, that you have realized the Dharmakaya. And that is the ultimate truth. You see the ultimate truth when you see that the mind transcends birth and death. And that ultimate truth, or the Dharmakaya, is the state beyond suffering, the great bliss beyond all suffering. It is a state where there is no more self-grasping. Now, because we perceive a self, there's also a perception of others. When all of that becomes purified, the mind remains pure and clear like space. And the only way to attain this state is by cultivating love. So this mind of love, or bodhichitta, in Tibetan it is Chang Chubsem, and Chang Chub, so 2 syllables, Chang and Chub. And Chang means to purify self-grasping, and Chub means to acquire, to accomplish an altruistic mind. If you have altruism, self-grasping will naturally dissolve. So that is what you need to recognize. You need to recognize, I want to get rid of self-grasping. How can I get rid of self-grasping? Even if I were to attack it with an atomic bomb, the atomic bomb cannot destroy self-grasping. The atomic bomb can wipe out the entire planet, but it cannot wipe out self-grasping. So actually, people have thrown atomic bombs, and that now we come back to this negative karma of leaders. So then that leaves people without legs or without hands and so on. And then when they die, their mind doesn't die, and all of that comes back to them. And then they experience this kind of suffering for many lifetimes continuously. So in any case, the best law to follow is the law of karma. And who taught the law of karma? It's the Buddha. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. So think, I must cultivate an altruistic mind. If this wish to cultivate altruism arises in you, then you have understood bodhicitta. And then how can you gain it? You gain it through the 3 jewels, through the Buddha. So then think, I have to cultivate, and I must cultivate bodhicitta. I must not allow it to decline, and I must always increase my bodhicitta. And that's the purpose of any practice that you do, even a very short sadhana practice. It all is actually also included in the refuge. In the refuge prayer, it also says, may I attain enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So I want to attain enlightenment. And how can I attain enlightenment? It is by letting go of this I want to. As long as you have this I, you cannot really attain enlightenment. The greatest fault, the greatest hindrance to enlightenment is this grasping at a self. And from this perception of a me arises this thought of I, this thought of me. But when you really look at it, where are you? Where's this me? You can't find it anywhere. And that is why the Buddha said, you are falsely believing in a self when there actually is no self. If there would be a self, it would be okay to hold on to it, but there is no self. But then in this illusory perception of a self, all the karmas and imprints are contained. It is just like a film, like a film roll, and on that roll you have all the imprints. The entire film is stored on that film roll, and whenever it is turned, whenever it's played, then the image is displayed on the screen, and you can see it. And that is the image of samsara. And these imprints are all written on that film roll. So then, so that is samsara, and then. Ultimately, when we understand karma and cultivate love, through love we eliminate self-grasping, and we realize the union of karma and emptiness. And so then, by seeing how things really are the ultimate truth, we attain that city of immortality, and that can be attained. And that state is the state of the Buddha's Dharmakaya. And it is said within the expanse of primordial wisdom, all the Buddhas are one. all the Buddhas abide pervading space. The Buddhas, and including their Nirmanakaya and Sambhogakaya manifestations, are therefore always present. And they manifest in forms of bodhicitta. And then on the other hand, from self-grasping arises all of our suffering. So when we come back to this example we mentioned before, a person like or leader of a country who has a lot of hatred, if they have a lot of hatred and make other people do terrible things, then they will take birth in the 3 lower realms. So trust in karma and trust in bodhicitta, that it will bring the temporary benefit and ultimate happiness. And so even temporarily, there may be a lot of people who do a lot of terrible things and who fight with others and so on and make other people fight. And then when they die, they take that karmic imprint with them, this imprint of hatred and jealousy and so on, and it will again ripen and they will have to experience a lot of suffering as a result. And it all comes down to self-grasping, because self-grasping is too strong. They can only see that. They cannot see the harm that is actually being caused, and they do not understand, they do not know that it will lead to incredible suffering in the future for themselves. And so because they don't see that, they take it lightheartedly, and they actually don't go out and make their own hands dirty, so to speak. They make other people do it, and while they themselves sit on a comfortable chair and eat good food. They think that they can do it. I'm not actually doing it. But actually the truth is that whatever they ask those other people to do is actually all connected to their own karma. So it would be very good to reflect on karma and to think about the benefits, the importance of bodhicitta. So again, the happiness and the cause of happiness is love. Suffering and the cause of suffering is self-grasping. So it is really just these 2 things that we need to be confident in. And with that confidence, we can kind of establish a foundation for cultivating bodhicitta. Please take a break for 20 minutes and then we will continue.
Give a feeling that the way you make your body. Jumde came in the mission, Talatini, but then the chats of Tassong, some they marry, same thing with the Saji Koba or Tayayo Mariko, Yauna Pushima, Yaman Saji Koba, Yaman, Mother Yakante, they hako your Makosi, oh, neck of the way to the Rasija, Tetawakin, Teta came in that, June. Jude or Shiltana, you must not maternity, that the Dongi Tani, what I'm learning so the money, Dongi Devala Jiva, Deva doing your dog, Dongi Devala Jutapa, they carry on Yamani, about the Rita, Sanchok Simple, age of Trisha, Katang, Sanchok Thomas of Pejari, there is Sosaka Capitally, Sosorana, around the boat, they die with it, yes, I'm not. Modernist were legendary Barnum tradition by Yore. There is also several community, Yenu Tona, give out of G, give up, give a new thing, give out of you, give out of Jordo Yore. Bang, Sosaka Bang, Sansi, Jordan, Yenu Tola, the Karen, in a pencil or round carrier diamond, Nora Sati, Magia of the Giva and Jortomatis, I just said the body. There's a house was not about also. Give out them, give a new attorney. They say with the barrier, you need the divine, but the Nidime, the same number of our children, read the deep parliament, they were awesome. They thought it was a touch of all that they could not take a shot. The very little that we are just in the pay, Yana. The song chokes at the 8,000 unity or so. Matia Jay, to the Saji that Bombard and Yata College, Saji, Tampo Tramis. Tampo Sachok to the top gilly, but the dramas on Sosa, Saji Reg Moran, then Saji Abamina, Saji say, oh, Mamma, the Kaba Mambo, some two papa Sosa to young Nanity, that Moram del Moram carried the water, Moram Tapset of the day actually just about goes over the seconds at the cha, the charity the charming the moon so glory. They are teaching the cancer about Satan, it's Carly Charlie. Beno they are teaching us about Satan with them, Moram talk along a double. This at Moram that dinner song with the San Johnson, top down, Moram song. This are the young issue. After San Johnson, you didn't call the San Johnson, but don't match, but that's how you San Johnson jumped on his eye. The Nana changing paper. Don't San Johnson, Nakata, the Uncle San Johnson, Jabba was the sound. Then I saw that they go to some job the shoe. All sorts of the job soon. That is San Johnson. That might be a kid that Torian County. Sanjay of the Nakara dinner. Sanjay of the Sanaway. Sanjay of the Sanjay abortion. The young Sanjay Thompson. Some of the but Dr. got it to the three. Rather than the issue that the Sanjay. Same decision more around told you. They are still in the list of the Santos of Doba, the Lingo was so good. They are still in the list of Tambo, Cross on Choksenji, somebody get that Luna is with Giacan, Chenian. They have Consona, Jim Ping alone, Magia of the Givan just to you. Oh, Jim Ping alone, men, Sotaga Casa, took a chance on Garich one. Die over that water. Rantabaton die of Benetri, getting trouble from the Manova, Lavry, they were the Sotaga Lanso, the Tubachumerso. The Riti the Cardi, they have some Tubachi of the Santos, the Chisok Sere, the keep it Jamsolasi, Santos near Judaism, doubling the Apochago. They must 60 Tamji comes on 60 Tamji, donate the Chile, donate the Chile, that donate the Targuna, that is something gore. Oh, Maharata, something here is about Sebi Badi. They give a couple of things of that. 문에 산초세 주를 지어봐지 되는 사바체민도 뭐도 딱지 당 거래. 대기를 대 강민성 사지에 담지 까바랑을 초사를 지요래. 이또됐다 요래. 그 산초세 싸다다 또 산초세 뭐 산초비 소제 돈이 당신이 송도 봐다. 세브랑원이 센데지 뭐 봐나. 돈이 이지고 지데 또 봐도 정말 봐. 제가 와서 잡아. 인지장이 딱고 타나 잡아 남가다가 남았다와 드리는 파고를 드리고 뭐 저거를 대서 상모상은 그 사제 고망들 타석 사제 고망들 돈이 hin지 예미 봐대 얘는 다 따라서 다 상을 좀 충분히 싸네 그 산정선지 용인데 시 대실에 다서도 소랑 게 산정선 도말을 담자 다른 산정선도 소환이지 가르쳐서 그래서 산정선도 수박을 쏜 거요래 다상이 이제 조사를 되는 거라 코로사와서 지야들이 산속 세우는 소나무 저를 저토고요. 산속 세우는 매나 소탈을 가면 안 그지 제가 그때 들랑 상태를 당디 니보요 되라 자꾸와 달아서 테디고 오송 너무 대래 특파 체종이 개발했더니 산속 세 자체 종도 또 체종 대래 비라 대하고는 데려서 다 도말기다 강은 산적선지 유양용의 일상을 고조도 잡을 좋아해요. 산적선 고조도 산적선 같은 이유리 대사로 당들이 다 또 산적선지 용띠 요는 용띠는 매일 중거리로 잡을는 데나 빼만 보야 요리 이렇게 하는 내용이 쉬요리 대외시와리 대리들이 다 냠니 탐체다 같이 보게 되죠. 또 산속선은 또 산속선지 시바데 메타 다주와 같이 주지. 줄 산속 세우는 먹기 같은 게 개발을 줄로 요리. 빼나 도로소차 등에지 네바지 삼시다. 그래서 시바들로 가서 말을 가봐다 것을. 또나 책임이 오대요 따고 로시 버리고 셔터면서 다들 갑잡는 데가 해야 돼. 감자를 가리, 호 치거리 뒤에 또 로우리 뒤에 이나 뒤라, 또다 소지를 이봐야 돼 가야게 좀 그래. 오디 샤사 빡빡 배주도 랑그 체도 소지나 다 이바치 버리, 쪽쪽 이바치 버리, 또다들 너의 요래. 빼나 대다운 내봐 그리고 너의 제들이나 소지 풍부가 되려 너의 체배가 용구 요래. 이 너의 되게 용구 그래 장의 요래. 가시에서 못될 감자하게 그 말해야지. 고등에 용고를 해서 말해야지. 그래야지. 칼을 넣듯이 미나서 봐. 야들 그 동네에 용주를 못한 것도 했더니 그 동네에 다와 채토고 요래지. 용도를 제봐. 그래서 다 설렁싸고 그래. 마늘부터 넣듯이 미나서 봐. 디디요 디네. 넣듯이 미나서 마늘은 통제리 미치기나 며칠 그 가서 참상대 땅나지 참상대 가서 돌려요. 그래서 사족 탭지 했었고 요래 빼나 또 로탑jel에 대도 병용지 사족 속에 용지듯이 강은 젤라들이 사족 생겼는데 들이 좀 나게 용지는 저 속에 요래 되게 싸우면 들이 그래서 내가 쫄랑 삼실 대다고 싸움하다가 사족 생부터 소탈다 사생이 개발들이 라면 이제는 사족 생 뭐요 제를 알아요. 대실에 이라게 게다면 그 누락 탐지에 누락 티들리는 거예요. 누가도 조달돼 와서 누가도 조달돼 될 거래. 유령한 게 이게 별로 그런 정도 없잖아. 깝들이고 딱그 이제도 오지. 딱베가 나데 별거 사제당 사는 담을 요래 대사제는 가래 나서나 다들이 먹기가 개발은 줄로 되게 빵절 시스템도 빵하대 소살거는 빵하대 다 좋아지는 다 동네리 그 빵 거요래 상식감이 들어와더니 이피를 놓고서들이 이게 동네에 빠지는 별라 또 소차들은 이제 그 동네들 돌 이래도 상고 남치들이 대식이 못해 용도로서 성도로들 문화라서 어떻게 그리고 그 레드 상도 비디 그런 수로 대다가 상문다네 들이 대다가들이 사촉좀 도망하는 애들이 다 먹이가 낭세 나로 가리나네 사촉들이 이제 서로 들이다 나와요 봐 얘들이 사촉 세벌을 하는데 레리 저버리게 빠져 레리 그 람폭 사폭 도목들이 찾아 요건으로 요래 이제 나를 찾아와야지 사족선면서 봐도 리자오래 소타를 무슨 못하는 일이 반랑식도 고요래지 대다고 시발해 대다고 생전들이 되는데나 참조 되는데 조상 족sem지 기반에 유르랑 철유를 따라는 요매 따고 그래 당연히 사바체비기를 다 줄라 사족생 건도 사족도 되고 저거래 이때 기초 보여래 그 조상족sem지고 이 배용 요랑 배용도 매나 중간에도 중용이라 따라 그래서 적성의 양도고 송도 가리를 송도고 다들 조롱 탐지리 따라비 방적 시스템을 되리들이 다 이렇게 사적성의 조건을 요구해 대외들이 다른 조상족sem지 들이 산이 저소사 주장 대조를 들이 사적성의 주랑을 세례 들이 가리키고도 가리켜도 산이 대조를 해야 돼 그러니까 참자들이 아무데나 숨을 이제 대문가를 가장 그 뭐지 쉬어래 삽제 내 이제 사사를 일하지 주는 선생이 설때미 다대다고 저때 소견살대 그래 대다고 검 대다고 양단도 검 내원으로랑 그 주고 그 검데 대다고 검 그냥 거달라서 검 그래서 도상족sem지 대대다 상족sem지 저 소사들 장마수들이 다 바로 더서 막 조건들이 다다다 야록들이 대답지 소문을 대한테 저전에 이 소쟁산대 도상족sem지 저 소사들 장 지모나 남다서 하나들이 지모나 남다다 산이지마 안까 지켜버려 이다다 내들이 공부하지 아무리 와서 마셔
So we mentioned we need to think about the benefits of bodhicitta or practicing virtue, and then the shortcomings or the faults that come from non-virtue. And so there are certain individuals who do not believe in karma, and then when, for example, a family member dies, they think that now it's over, it's gone. But it's not true, because the mind doesn't die. There is Buddha nature, and it will continue to go on, and it can never cease to be. That mind will continue either to the Pure Lands or to the state of Buddhahood or to anywhere in the 6 realms of samsara or to the hell realms and so on. But they don't understand that, they don't know that. And often, because they're overwhelmed by suffering, they even commit suicide. So that is that is a sign, and that is also the fault of not believing in karma, not understanding karma. If we understand karma, you would think more in the long term, and you will be able to accept whatever suffering you now experience. In the 37 practices, there are also methods where we can transform suffering experiences into happiness. But what these before mentioned people often do is they transform happiness into suffering. So when we transform suffering into happiness, we are basically equalizing happiness and suffering, so it all becomes the same. This is how the bodhisattvas practice. So we gave some examples yesterday about the bodhisattva, the essence of the bodhisattva vow, and we explained the essence of the pratimoksha. So we have said that in the pratimoksha, or individual liberation path, one mainly thinks about oneself, and we have said that this is similar to driving in a car. On the pratimoksha path, we mainly abandon the afflictive emotions. We develop a very refined understanding of karma, cause and effect, and we know what to do and what not to do. And then when we move to the bodhisattva path, the focus is on altruism, on bodhicitta. And if you have bodhicitta, there's actually a way to transform non-virtue into virtue. So that is why the bodhicitta or the bodhisattva path is called the path of transformation. So in the pratimoksha, we abandon. In the bodhisattva path, we transform. If you benefit others without thinking about yourself at all, then sometimes it is permissible to engage in a so-called non-virtuous act. But actually, this non-virtue becomes virtuous through the power of bodhicitta. And then when we move on to the Vajrayana path, we realize the ultimate truth. And realizing the ultimate truth means that we realize that this so-called virtue and non-virtue are all just thoughts in our mind, dualistic confusions in our mind. And on the Vajrayana level, we purify all dualistic concepts. So the Vajrayana path is therefore called as knowing. So we have abandoning, transforming, and knowing. And we already mentioned that yesterday. And so today, I was mainly focusing on the quality of bodhicitta and the method to cultivate bodhicitta, where it has not yet arisen, and then not to let it decline where it has arisen. And one method, for example, is to take the bodhisattva vow. And this is essentially what the Buddhas have done. They first committed to bodhicitta, and then they accumulated merit for 3 endless aeons. And then each Buddha, before they attained enlightenment, made a very special prayer. For example, the Buddha Amitabha's aspiration prayer was made in the presence of millions of other Buddhas, to whom he made offerings for many aeons. And so in this way, he accumulated a lot of merit and purified obscurations. And then he made this prayer in their presence. And his prayer was that may anyone who simply prays be able to take birth in a pure land called Devachan. And this is also mentioned in Chagme's prayer for birth in Devachan. And what is unique about Devachan is that Devachan is actually a brand new Pure Land. It's the newest of all the Pure Lands. It is said it's actually just a week old in Devachan counting. So one Devachan day is an aeon here. So it's basically 7 aeons old in our perception of time. But it's 7 days, it's just a week in Devachan time. So it's the newest of all Pure Lands. And anyone who simply prays with faith can be born there. Also tomorrow I will mention more about the perfection, the paramita of prayer, and also method and power. But today I'm focusing on the qualities of bodhicitta, the bodhisattva vow, and how we cultivate bodhicitta so that it never declines, since our mind is beyond birth and death. And then I have also mentioned that if you cultivate the relative bodhicitta, only from that the ultimate bodhicitta will arise. And that is why we start out with taking refuge in the 3 jewels. When we take refuge in the 3 jewels, that actually is a method for bodhicitta to arise where it has not yet arisen. We connect, by taking refuge, we connect to the merit that all the Buddhas have accumulated by cultivating bodhicitta. And that is the essence of all the Buddhas. The Buddha's essence is love. Often when we take like a self-empowerment or so, then we visualize how all these Buddhas then dissolve into us. And what really dissolves into us is the Buddha's love. And the more love dissolves into us, the more self-grasping will melt away. And as it melts away, your Buddha nature will attain freedom. And so this understanding is the beginning of the Bodhisattva vow. So here we are speaking about, not of the 4 causes of birth in Devachan, we are speaking about the support that is bodhicitta. If you have bodhicitta, whatever virtue you engage in with body, speech, and mind, it will become beneficial. Everything becomes virtues. Even non-virtue can become virtues. If you lack bodhicitta, then even what seems virtues can become non-virtues. In the pratimoksha path, or the pratimoksha path is also sometimes referred to as the lower vehicle. And the reason for calling it the lower vehicle is because here one still mainly thinks about oneself. One strives for one's own liberation. But one is very meticulous when it comes to observing karma, cause and effect. One is unmistaken in engaging in virtue and abandoning non-virtue. But that's in the context of the pratimoksha. And it is said in the sutras that the pratimoksha, or the lower vehicle state of mind, is like the water that accumulates in the footprint of a cow. Whereas then the mind of a Mahayana mind of bodhicitta is like the water in the vast ocean. And so that mind of bodhicitta manifests as a wish, for example, of wanting everyone in the world to be happy, or thinking that may all sentient beings be free from suffering. How can they be free from suffering? They need love. They need immeasurable love. So you have to see for yourself by looking at your own mind whether or not real bodhicitta has arisen. And so if those four immeasurable have arisen, then real bodhicitta has arisen in your mind. And this is what the Buddhas have accumulated in those many aeons. And so because we go for refuge in those Buddhas, we also connect to the power of the merit that they have accumulated. And that merit is a union of the relative and the ultimate bodhicitta, or we call it a union of emptiness and compassion, which is essentially our Buddha nature. Our Buddha nature is a union of emptiness and compassion, or it is called emptiness that has compassion at its core. So it's not mere emptiness, it also has compassion. It is free from all extremes. Because it has compassion, it is free from the nihilistic view. Because it is empty like space, it is free from the eternalistic view. So the ultimate state of enlightenment is to realize this unified state of emptiness and compassion, or this unified mind of emptiness and compassion. And it begins with now recognizing that small love that we have and accumulating it, making it stronger. You make it stronger if you recognize the quality, the importance of bodhicitta. That is why we take the bodhisattva vow, where we commit ourselves to sustaining, to cultivating bodhicitta. So how can we sustain bodhicitta? In order to sustain bodhicitta, mainly you need patience. And so then tomorrow we will continue with the next cause of Devachan, which is accumulating merit and purifying obscurations. And so we mentioned a bit about that before, and that is, even if we engage in ordinary samsaric activities, we still can accumulate great merit if we cultivate bodhicitta. And if we do not cultivate bodhicitta, even if we practice the Dharma, if we practice all kinds of virtue, it still is tainted by self-grasping. And so the Dharma must become an antidote to self-grasping. And that is also why it is said that in the lower vehicle, or practitioners or followers of the lower vehicle need confession. It's for that reason. So we must cultivate vast love, vast bodhicitta, and then sustain this continuum of bodhicitta. And so as we said, it begins with taking refuge in the three jewels. And so then that is because we take refuge in the three jewels because they show us how to cultivate bodhicitta. And then when we know that, we can think about the importance of bodhicitta and the faults that come from not having bodhicitta. So now we have given many different examples. I've shared a few stories, and I just wanted to really make it very clear. So all the different practices, the 84,000 Dharma teachings, all arise from bodhicitta. So the support is bodhicitta, and that's really the what I just mentioned is the most important thing that I wanted to say. So the most important thing is that if you have bodhicitta, then even a seemingly non-virtuous action can become a virtuous action. One example is, for example, if I've had disciples whose pets, like their dog, was very sick and was about to die, but then it just lingered on, and it was very sick and suffering a lot, but it just didn't die. And this disciple then called me and told me what can I do. The dog is suffering so much, but just can't die. Can I euthanize the dog? Give him an injection. And so there's really a difference when it comes to this act of killing that we need to understand, and that is when we go and kill someone because we want to eat their flesh or use their skin or use other parts of their body for our benefit, then that is a very strong, a great negative act. But then, and also that animal actually experiences a lot of pain and suffering as they are dying. So that is very different than euthanizing an animal out of compassion. So sometimes people say that they have this karma to experience suffering. So by suffering, they are purifying this negative karma, and so maybe it's better not to euthanize them because they should go through that and become free of their negative karma. But actually, this is I don't agree with that because there's actually a way to benefit them without them having to go through all this suffering. So you can euthanize them. You can when they get the injection, you can also give them some blessing pills and recite prayers for them. And that actually, these blessing pills and your reciting prayer can actually cut through the root of their suffering. So that's why we call these blessing pills liberation by tasting. They're mani pills or blessing pills that are liberation by tasting. And also if a person eats those blessing pills and then they pee, for example, then wherever their urine goes, for example, if that urine touches an animal, an insect, and so on, then this being that is touched by this urine will be able to cultivate bodhicitta, has that seed planted. So that is all because these pills are infused with the power of bodhicitta. And then whoever connects with this mind of bodhicitta can transform a fault into a good quality. So that's something you should keep in mind in your everyday activities. And that is the difference between the pratimoksha and the bodhisattva path. It is that mind of bodhicitta. It all depends on whether or not you have true bodhicitta. And that's important to understand. So we practice virtue, but we also have to know how to practice virtue. And the practice of virtue really occurs during our everyday activities. So it is during those activities when we interact, engage, where we need to be very heedful, very mindful of our actions. And it is through bodhicitta that whatever Buddhas do, there's many stories about that anything they do, even if it seems harmful, it becomes beneficial. There's many stories where a Buddha had engaged in a seemingly non-virtuous act, but for the sake of others. And this is how they transformed non-virtue into virtue. So these are those three phases of abandonment, transformation, and knowledge. So in a pratimoksha, again, we abandon. And so here we still consider the self as more important. Then in the bodhisattva path, we transform through bodhicitta. With bodhicitta, we strive to liberate others from suffering. And so, for example, also an animal. We want them to be free from suffering. We want them to purify their negative karma. So that's why we give them these blessing pills, liberation by tasting, also liberation by seeing, and we make prayers. prayers that their negative karma of being an animal may become purified, that may all of their karmic debt be repaid, and their consciousness move to a more fortunate place. So when you have to do things like this, like euthanization, you should think in this way. And also in the context of the Bodhisattva vow, it says that if you have bodhicitta, actually sometimes non-virtue is permitted, but then there is a way how it is permitted, a way it is permitted. And so that way needs to be understood. And if you understand this way, then the foundation of really practicing true the Bodhisattva path is established. So I've mentioned yesterday that practicing the Bodhisattva path is like traveling on a train. So the Pratimoksha was going by car, and then the Bodhisattva path is going on a train. A train goes directly, it cuts directly through the mountains, so it can move much faster than a car. So on the Pratimoksha path, we are more concerned with being very precise, the precise workings of cause and effect, and what to do and what not to do. And in the Bodhisattva path, it all more comes down to the mind. Do I have a mind of bodhicitta or not? This is something we have to see for ourselves. We need to cultivate immeasurable bodhicitta for all beings. And this is the beginning of the relative bodhicitta. So today, this is what I discussed, one of those causes of birth in Devachen, the support that is bodhicitta. So think about it. What are the benefits of having bodhicitta? What are the faults of not having bodhicitta? Think about it again and again and cultivate it and hold on to it again and again. Know how to sustain it. How can I uphold bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is upheld in your everyday activities. And so with this understanding, enter into the path of the bodhisattvas. So this is what we discussed today, and tomorrow we will continue with the next cause of birth in Devachen, and that is to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. So this is also something that we need to apply in our everyday activities with a mind of bodhicitta. So also in this prayer of Devachen is also divided into different chapters, and also Garchen Rinpoche mentioned that yesterday. And so there are different sections that we go through, such as accumulating merit and prostration and so forth. So really, when you read this prayer, go back to those teachings that you heard, and remember this is the cause, which is the visualization of the refuge field. When we visualize this Pure Land of Devachen and the Buddha Amitabha. So as you go through this prayer, try to kind of connect each section to one of those 4 causes of birth in Devachen. So that is what we will continue with tomorrow, to accumulate merit and purify obscurations, and that's also related to the practice of the 6 paramitas, which also is in the sadhana. But as you go through the sadhana, there's a section where we offer with the 6 paramitas. So again, connect what you read to one of those causes of birth in Devachen. So to summarize those 4 causes once more. So first is the support, that is the visualizing the field of accumulation. Then second is also kind of a support actually, but it's like a helping friend, the helping friend of bodhicitta. And the third one is the cause, that is accumulating merit and purifying obscurations. And the fourth is to seal with the condition of a perfect dedication prayer. And so with the remaining causes, we will cover the remaining causes then tomorrow. And for now, I will stop the teachings here, and please continue with the Amitabha mantra.
这东西平忙的生活，这东西是敌人。到快乐来了，啥有呢？主龙那就是上出成绩了，那上这个谁故事嘞？是，这这上出是上这个谁？上这个谁？这些个没用了，上这个有人，人家他这有了上出成故事见了，这上这些是故事大家都是，这广告没有嘞，这到这里，他上出是不是也错了嘞？
In the Bodhisattva vow, it says, in the end of the Bodhisattva vow, there are some verses on the benefits of the Bodhisattva vow, and it says, now you should rejoice and others should rejoice. And so I think that even though I live a samsaric and ordinary life, if I give rise to bodhicitta, to true bodhicitta, I become a child of the Buddha. And so that is really the essence of this one cause of Devachan, that is bodhicitta. When you cultivate true bodhicitta, you become a child of the Buddha. And essentially, really all beings are a child of the Buddha because they possess Buddha nature, and that is really the cause of awakening. But if you cultivate true bodhicitta in your mind, then you have actually really entered or kind of become part of this community of children of the Buddha. And so by doing that, by entering that domain, you have established a foundation for cultivating true bodhicitta.
Okay, page number 19.
Home, innate awareness is the form of Amitabha. Look at the mind that is free of subject-object duality. There is no other Amitabha than that. How wondrous is the truth body of self-knowing awareness.
Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva She. Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva She. Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva She. Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva She. Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva She, Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva Om Ame Deva She, 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 Om Ame Deva Ame Deva Shivam, 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 Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, 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 Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, 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 Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Shivam, Ame Deva 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 Om Ame Deva Shivam, 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 Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Shivam, Ame Deva Om Ame Deva Shivam, 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 Ame Deva Ame Deva Shivam, Jom Deng Gombo San Jewa Ba Me Zai Jian Jia Se Jian Sen Pa Pe Zuo Niu Mon Zhuo Lai Dui Ji Ra Gong Lai Da Sui De Yan Den Zhen De Sui Nguyen Jie Dui Jie Dan Jia Ji Xian De Do Da Ma Yi Dui Jie Wan Ge La Ling Yin Da Zhen Guo Wai Dong Zhuo Ne Da Da Nye Zhen Ban Zi De Su De Da Dong Xiao Zha Bei Jie Ge Wei Nan De Do Le Dui Ji Wo Man Zhi Da Sun Zhuo Wei Nian Ge Ra Den Bei Mo Dan Zi Lo De 这把让在些大灭绝个公把我就上撒旦在灭这这安的呀。
Page 20. Hong, transcendent conqueror, protector, Buddha, Amitabha, and noble assembly of loving bodhisattvas, compassionately look upon us afflicted beings and guide us to the pure land of Sukhavati. In accordance with your past vows, not wavering from the sacred bond, deity with great compassion, please exhaust all negative karma and empty samsara from its depths. At this very moment, please act as our guide. As I, with intense devotion, have thus invoked the enlightened mind, red light rays of compassion radiate from the heart of Amitabha and dissolve into the hearts of myself and all beings. Self-grasping, misconceptions, and delusions have collapsed in themselves. The state of selfless Dharmakaya is realized, and I rest in the nature of clarity and emptiness, free from grasping and elaboration. By all the limitless and sacred merit obtained through this meditation and recitation, may all beings drowning in the river of suffering attain the supreme state of Amitabha. Hong, Ri, all-pervasive Dharmakaya, protector Amitabha, Sambhogakayas, the loving assembly of Bodhisattvas and Nirmanakayas, the gathering of Shravakas and Arhats, together with your retinues, please endow all beings with the auspiciousness to progress to Sukhavati.
De jiang zai ba de me ba ye de wa jin xie zha wei jin gan de da yin de ne zhen be jie ma da jie wa jin jie ba ma ju ba re de re jin ne nan de jiang dong xiu de ge da ge mo lan da ban de Cho je san je jiang sen dan jue je ge min zhe bar xin je la de se da ya da ban zan zhe ya wan bo da na ya so
Ho, marvelous. In the center is the Buddha Amitabha, boundless light. To his right is Chenrezig, the Lord of great compassion, and to his left is the Bodhisattva Vajrapani, the Lord of great power. They are surrounded by an inconceivable assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Extraordinary, limitless peace and happiness is the Buddha field called bliss endowed. When I and all beings pass from this life, may we be reborn there, unhindered by another samsaric birth. Once born there, may we behold the face of light. By the power of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, bless me that I may attain the aspiration without hindrance. Tayata pansagriya awa bodha naye soha.
Amen. Oh